simplest forms. Now it's just combining like terms. So my answer will be
Negative 16 square root of 3 plus 21 square root of 2.
And again, you can have these in either order, and it's fine. Now, because the video is short, we'll wait on notes, okay? The next thing we're going to do is multiplication with radicals. Well, you got two processes. You're going to dp and you're going to FOIL. So if I dp, I would take the first piece times both pieces. Well, if I do that, the first one would be 3 square roots of 5. Because the 3 is a whole number, it goes out in front. The second piece would be a negative 2 square roots of 25, because I can multiply the radical pieces together. Then I have to simplify, so I have 3 square roots of 5 minus 2 times 5, so my answer would be 3 square roots of 5 minus 10. So are we good? Now, in the second one, we have to do FOIL. Now I'm going to write it out. How you do it is up to you. But I want to make sure we have all our parts together. So if I'm going to take the square root of 3 times 3 square roots of 3, I would get 3 square roots of 9, or just plain old 9, correct? The outside terms would be the square root of 3 times the square root of 2, which is the square root of 6. The inside 2 would be a negative 3 square roots of 6. In other words, the coefficients, then underneath the radicals. And the last one would be a minus square root of 4, which is really a negative 2. Then, we usually put the real part first, and then the irrational part. So in this particular case, our answer would be 7 minus 2 square roots of 6. So far, so good. Again, we're going to hang on to the notes till I get the last group that we need to take, and then we'll go back and review. The last thing we have to deal with is a division with an expression. If you notice, I cannot have a radical in the denominator, and I have to eliminate that. Well, you guys remember conjugates?
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the conjugate of that denominator?
Negative 2 minus 3.
You don't change the first sign.
2 minus negative, or square root of 3.
2 minus the square root of 3. Now, if I would FOIL this out, the denominator, I'd lose the radical, which is what I was after. So if I multiply it on the bottom, I have to multiply it on the top. So in the numerator, I'm going to get 5 times 2 minus the square root of 3. Here, my first term would be 4. The I and the O are going to drop out, and the last term is a minus 3, so the denominator is 1. Now, you can either leave your answer in this form, or you can write it in this form. Now, the only special case that we have with this is if these three coefficients are all divisible by the same value. Then you want to reverse. You want to reduce. So this is really like 10 over 5 minus 5 square roots of 3 over 5. So you get 2 minus the square root of 3. That's about the only special case. All right, so let's do a quick rundown. First of all, we talked about adding and subtracting radicals. You can only add when the radical pieces are the same. That includes cubed roots too. If the roots aren't simplified, you have to simplify them before you can add or subtract. Second part, dp and FOIL. And the last part is division, where you have to multiply by a conjugate. Questions? Shut that baby off.